Okay, y'all. It is PC versus Mac. I don't know what this show's gonna be. It's like we have. You know, what am I calling you today, Dark? What do you want to be Mark today or what?
Doesn't matter.
Dark. We have Dark Mark. Whoever the hell I am, and the voices in the sky or in my head, I'm not sure which, are of course Leo. And what the heck are we calling you?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Scopeless.
Oh. Mac Anonymous.
Yeah, Mac Anonymous.
Okay.
Actually, that's not a bad name. Anyway, okay, go on.
See if it's taken.
Oh, that is like some registered domain name. We're gonna get sued now. Oh, Mac Anonymous. I was the real Mac Anonymous. It's like,
Yeah, it's taken.
Mac Anonymous.
There is a Mac Anonymous YouTube channel.
Oh, it doesn't surprise.
It's there.
Does that not surprise me?
You know, nothing would surprise me.
Videos.
Yeah.
Doesn't that always suck? Like, there's a name you want, and it's like either registered on Twitter by somebody who never tweets, or it's like somebody who never makes videos, or like, they're just like, you just want to go, you don't deserve this name! You're not using it! It's like...
So I know exactly how you feel, like, when I sign up for an email or something like that, like an alternate email, I put in a name that I just made up.
And it's taken.
And it's taken.
It's funny how humans tend to look alike, or think alike. I mean, I had an argument one time with a small business owner. They wanted to register, I forget if it was Gmail or Yahoo, but they wanted their company name at blah blah, and it was taken. And they're like, this is a registered trademark name. How do I sue them? You have $1 million? Let it go. Add a number. Move on. It's like,
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes.
Okay, what do we want to start with?
Well, what's in the news? That'll probably be a good point to start. Good place to start at.
Well, okay, the obvious news for this week is the fact that AT&T has declared war on the internet.
Okay, elaborate.
Have you been living under a rock all week?
Sorry.
Okay, you need to tweak your
Basically,
mic.
what's going on is AT&T has decided to place a number of new caps and new charges on their DSL line. Right?
Yeah, it's if you have DSL, you're now capped. Well, starting May 2nd. If you have DSL from AT&T, you will be capped at 150 gigabytes for the month, and you will be charged $10 for each 50 gig block over. If you have UVerse, they'll allow you the benefit of 250 gigs a month with the same $10 per 50 gigabyte. AT&T's claim, and I use the term claim adamantly, is that people are only using 18 gigabytes a month.
Oh. So they're claiming that people only use the small amount a month to justify jacking up their prices.
Yeah.
That sounds familiar. That sounds like when the iPad came out and it was supposed to be unlimited data for $30, and then they said, oh, well, iPhone users only use 2 gigs of data a month, so why don't we offer you 2 gigs of data per month for $25 and all this other stuff?
Well,
yeah.
no, it's like...
Thanks a lot, AT&T.
Yeah, this is the growing...
So you're with us on that?
Yeah, this is the...
Yeah, of course. that's a bull.
Well, no,
can I curse on this show?
Well, no, and this is the growing problem with data caps as a whole, that they're like and if you go to Verizon's site for the Zoom, with their caps, they're like, well, you can do blah emails. How about you tell me something useful, like how many Netflix videos is that, or how many minutes of YouTube video? It's like they don't want to say that number, I mean things that people actually use the internet for. Oh
Yeah.
no, that can't possibly be used. What's really funny about them claiming this 18 gig though? They tried this in select areas back in 2008.
Right.
And they wound up charging almost every area they tested it in overage fees.
Right.
Literally across the board.
Right. Well, one thing I can tell you from experience, I can tell you how much data usage, like how much data you would use through VoIP.
Since we were going to do a bandwidth story, I decided to actually do the math. And I came up and pulled out all the, average data rates, average hours people actually do stuff. At the end of the day, what I think these caps are about is preventing IP services from competing with the telecoms, because it's very...
Actually, yes, you're 100% correct.
It's very interesting how they don't count the bandwidth they happen to provide, which is right. To put it in perspective, pretty much minimum for doing like an audio stream, like we're doing Skype here, or a low quality radio stream or something, is about 64 kbs. A good high quality VoIP call, something like Vonage, is upwards of 128. Low quality video, like something up to 480p. Which is, your lower quality YouTube streams, or Netflix, or other streaming services, standard quality television is around 380 to 700K, and high def is about a gig to 1.5 gigabits. Now, there's another service we should add into the mix here, and that is gaming. Because services like OnLive, which interestingly enough AT&T is backing up, use about 3 megabits a second.
Right.
So looking at the average usage people do, now we're going to stick to Americans for this. I realize people all over the world use slightly different things, but since this is happening in America, we're going to stick to American metrics. The average American, and this sounds ridiculously high, but think about it, watches about 5 hours of TV a day.
I can believe it. I mean, I don't watch TV at all anymore, but
this is the average.
I used to, yeah.
Yeah, the average American. The average American listens to the equivalent of about 2 hours of radio a day. Their commute back and forth. Some is more, some is less, but it averages about 2 hours.
Right.
Phone-wise, on average, the usage per person. Some people are a lot more. Some people almost talk on the phone none. But average phone is not as much as you'd think. It's about 2,000 minutes a month, which comes out to about a little over an hour a day. Gaming, and this is going to sound another, oh dear God, ridiculous number, but the average amount of gaming for a gamer, an 8 to 18-year-old in a household with rules, where mom and dad say, don't game 24/7. Go outside and play, Billy! Go now!
Yeah.
Is about 130 hours a month. Basically, they game as much as they watch TV. Or as much as mom and dad watch TV. Maybe they game instead of watching TV, But this is, average usage for an average American user. If you take these numbers into account, high-def television would use just shy of 100 gigs a month. Standard def, a little over 24. High-quality audio streams, radio, listening to Pandora instead of your AM, FM radio, which is not becoming an uncommon occurrence. It's becoming more and more the norm, is upwards of 3 to 4 gig a month, and as little as 1.5. Phone calls would be about 2 gig worth of data a month, and gaming cripples the system using upwards of 180 if you move over to streaming gaming, like OnLive.
Yeah.
Which means the average American household is using somewhere between 195 gigs and 270 a month.
Yeah. Yeah.
If they're competing with the telecoms. So everybody's 2 cents on this math. Do we think this caps are reasonable, or do we? Because it's really funny. Like the Uverse people get 250 gig, but we're not counting the upwards of 100 gigabytes that AT&T is providing via Uverse, delivered over TCP protocol.
Well, yeah. I think that a lot of the data caps that these companies are, introducing are basically their attempt to basically turn data into the good old days of the cell phone industry when like cell phones first came out, and then they told every minute that you were on the phone, and there was no unlimited this or no unlimited that.
I don't know where the other two of you think on that, but I don't think that's what it's about at all. I think it's about, well, what we're going to do is set the cap so that it's only cost effective if you buy the service from us. You can get your TV through another internet-based television protocol or Hulu or something like that, but that's going to count against your bandwidth. On the other hand, if you buy it from Uverse, and you buy the Uverse TV that uses the same amount of data, possibly even more, depending on its efficiency, that's not going to count.
So what you're saying is that they have their own services that they're offering, and for data transfer rates on those, they're not going to kill you on the price. But if you use a competing product, they're trying to kill you.
Pretty much the case. I'm honestly
some of the things I've seen from Comcast as well.
Yeah, no, it's like AT&T's not alone in this.
I've been noticing lower speeds on video files as far as transfer goes.
I was going to say, up here where I live, Time Warner is doing the same thing. They're looking to cap their data transfers, and basically they're pushing their all-in-one packages.
Yeah. Well, and all of them want, like, what's becoming contingent of getting this higher speed internet is you have to have their box instead of your router. It's like, no, our box has to be in your home. It's not a modem, it's a router, and it's got like router things. You can't really use. We don't want you to use your router. We want you to use ours. I mean, you still can use yours behind theirs, but that's not really what they want you to be doing.
Yeah.
And it's one of those. I mean, I really do think it is about preventing the competition. Personally, I don't see the difference between using blog gigabytes of their bandwidth for their TV and blog gigabytes for one of their competitors' service. At the end of the day, their costs are largely fixed. Now, I'm not saying they can give this stuff away for free. We'd all like 5 megabyte. We'd all like, but I added up all of this stuff. The bandwidth. The reality is, to do this stuff over TCP/IP, you don't even need that much. You need something like a 7.2 megabit down pipe and maybe an up pipe of like just over 2 meg. That's enough to do this. So, these 50 down, 5 up connections would be enough to do all of this. It's not like the pipe isn't big enough. That's one of the reasons I think they're putting in these caps to... higher end, wanting to do HDef, it's somewhere between 7 and 99% short. 99, of course, being the 2 gigabyte mobile data.
Yeah. No, believe me, I can definitely attest to that from experience.
Out of curiosity, you said you had an iPad. One question I'm wondering on the iPad data, while we're on data. Did you have an unlimited data plan?
Well, I should have activated. Wait, I'm getting a feedback here in my ear. I can hear myself. Well, what I was going to say was that on the iPad, when I first got it, I had the option to go with the unlimited data plan,
You bought the 200 megabyte, didn't
by the
you?
time that I got around to getting my data plan, that service had been thrown out. So I had to get the $25 for 2 gig thing.
Well, because one thing I'm wondering with the iPad 2 is, can people transfer their grandfathered in unlimited plan?
Yes, you can. If you have the unlimited plan, you can grandfather it in, and you can even do so with the iPad.
You know what I see happening about 3 years from now when we actually start moving over to internet-based alternatives? I see these people who have these grandfathered in unlimited plans, like my flatmate who he's using on average 15 gig a month on his Nexus 1, but he has a grandfathered in data plan. It's like, you're going to be able to sell those things for $1,000 to $10,000.
I think you could find devices like that on eBay, actually.
It's not the device, it's the plan. You have to have somebody who has a grandfathered in plan who's willing to get that paperwork from AT&T where they fill out I transfer ownership of this account to the following person, knowing that the bill is in good standing, yada yada. There is a way to do that, but basically then they can't go buy that plan. More and more with the telecoms, no matter what you have, this is the rule. Every time you go in there, understand that every single plan they're selling is less than what you have for twice the money.
Right. Yeah.
No matter what you bought or when you bought it, when you go in that store next, that's the golden rule.
Yeah.
Anyone have anything else to say on this, or any additional thoughts? This isn't even counting doing things like torrenting or downloading from iTunes or Amazon, or this would just be doing what people do already.
Yeah, well, I think that they're changing their plans. I think that they're changing their plans in the middle of the game isn't very good business. It's one thing when you're just starting out and you go, whoa, we have to do things this way, but when you've been providing this service in the past, and then you decide to change it to jack up prices and all this other stuff.
No, they're not changing the prices; they're just putting caps on them.
That's pretty much jacking up the price. They're putting a cap on it.
Well, okay, given that Congress supposedly cares about net neutrality, and I use the supposedly for obvious reasons. Do we think this is going to result in a congressional regulatory investigation of some sort? Or do you think, that, well, we covered this in 08, we don't care?
I think down the boys will be boys.
Yeah, telecoms can do what they want. It's there now, Ark. Never mind preventing competition.
Hopefully we'll end up seeing some competition emerge in the market from younger ISPs that will keep the big boys on their toes.
Yeah.
Well, we thought that, but think about it. Metro's been selling unlimited.
I know in my state they're actually doing this huge fiber push in various cities around where I am.
Yeah.
So I'm still hopeful that kind of a thing can get these guys to stop pulling this kind of crap.
Well, and what's so stupid about this is the price keeps going up. What you get for it keeps. I know what this is. Especially coming from AT&T. They've got a 4G network to build, and they think we should pay for it, not them. That's exactly what this is all about. Get as much money from every single customer in the AT&T ecosystem as we can, because we have a new nationwide network to build, or two.
Yeah.
So to say their 3G connection's not that great already.
Is there some truth to the whole idea? Would it be possible that they cannot build it without increasing the price on their other products?
Well, see, that's a matter of debate, and it might be true, it might not, and I'm not opposed to helping pay for the infrastructure, but at the end of the day, if I'm going to pay for it in entirety, doing my 2 cents, I want a contract that says, because I was one of the users that got raped for 2 to 3 years, since I paid for the infrastructure, I get it for 90% off for life of the infrastructure. I want a contract like that if that really is the case here. It's like, fine, I paid for it, I get it after I'm done paying for it, along with everybody else who's paying for it instead of you paying for it. Then we paid for it, we're entitled to use it because we paid for it.
But if the deal's fair, they won't lose money.
The people paying for it or AT&T?
I'm being facetious. I'm saying AT&T.
Well, but what's so stupid about this, it's like metering bandwidth doesn't really help here. The solution that makes so much more sense is figure out how big a pipe you have, chop it up into pieces. Okay, say you have a 1,000 megabyte pipe. That's the pipe you have for this city. Okay, how much does it cost you to maintain that 1,000 megabyte pipe? Okay, what's the dollar amount per megabyte? Okay, so say it winds up being something like $5 a megabyte or something. Okay, fine. Charge me $5 a megabyte. If their cost to maintain it plus profit margin plus estimated future network maintenance, plus a little bit of markup more because it is retail and you invested in the infrastructure. Okay, if that winds up being 5, 10, whatever, then charge me by the megabyte, chop the pipe up like I want. It's like, yes, I need 10 megabytes. 6 down, 4 up. 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. That'll be how much a month? Okay, good, I'm ready. It's like, compute it like that. This by the gigabyte, yes, it doesn't make any sense. It has, how much data runs through the network has nothing to do with how much bandwidth can run through the network at all. They're not, the two have no relation whatsoever. So I don't understand that, why they're tiering it that way. If they want to tier it, wholesale me or retail me the price per chunk of pipe and let me buy however much pipe I think I need. Then get the hell out of my way.
Right.
Okay. What else do we want to cover in? Oh, the nuclear plant didn't blow up yet. I'm sorry.
It's a horrible situation over there.
It's a horrible situation, and I feel sorry for the people. But I'm about ready to frickin', I want to yell at traditional media because I've heard at least 3 news outlets, over the weekend started going, oh, well, we had a meltdown. And then come Monday, as everybody points out, if the reactor didn't breach, it's not every 30, they blew up, it's a meltdown. Okay, no, they didn't really. No, it's a meltdown. Oh, okay, no, they didn't. Meltdown. The thing's going to blow up and nobody's going to have a clue. I don't think it's going to blow up, at least I hope it doesn't. And even if it does, it's not going to, nuclear reactors don't blow up when they melt down. It's fear-mongering at its worst. It really is.
It's like so much loss of life over there.
Well, the loss of life, but see, that's the thing. The loss of life isn't from this nuclear reactor. The loss of life is from a frickin' earthquake moving the island 8 feet and a big tsunami coming and flooding a whole chunk of it. Yeah. That's what the loss of life is from. Yeah,
I know. The concern is that the nuclear plant will probably go up or whatever, but
again, even if they have a complete meltdown, you're not going to have a big mushroom cloud. You're going to have
I know that. It's just that there's so many news reports on it and everything that after a while you do kind of get a little bit weary of.
Well, I find the way the news outlets are covering that almost comical. In that, is this fear-mongering that we're doing and pouring gasoline on and saying that this is the end of the world going to cause problems for nuclear energy, which, by the way, we really need, is us. So let me pour some more gasoline on this and explain that the reactor that hasn't melted down and blown up has melted down and blown up, and then ask, is my fear-mongering going to hurt nuclear energy? But remember, we need nuclear energy. I'm all for nuclear energy, as long as I can pour gasoline and explain why we don't. It's like, my head wants to implode every time one of them do that. I mean, MSNBC, CNN, they've all been doing nothing but, and of course we have our grandstanding politicians going, well, I've decided that we should halt all nuclear activity. Why do we think about it? It's...
Yeah, we're not in the same situation that Japan's in, so it's kind of ridiculous to halt it.
The problem with Japan is that it was not, there was some oversight things, and it wasn't prepared for the worst case scenario. I'm of the honest assessment, and there's a lot of people who are going to go, of course we've already blamed plate tectonics on climate change and global warming, so, anything flies today, but, we come up with theoretical limits for fault lines. Like, according to high-educated experts in plate tectonics, the highest order of magnitude, the San Andreas, and the three major faults, because there's actually two other faults like the San Andreas along California, some of which are expected to go off sooner than San Andreas, is supposedly capable of at most a magnitude 8.0, which would be about a thousandth the magnitude of what hit Japan. So we shouldn't expect California to go sliding 8 feet. But this is based on science that has recently been proven to be false, and that is the idea that the only things that trigger earthquakes is the idea of a shift. Basically either a plate subduing under another, or one concaving over another, and that's basically they can only so much. So they can only shake the ground so much. There's some geologists doing interesting tests where they're toying around with the idea of what if plates happen to do a freak occurrence where, as part of doing this, they have basically a resonant snap. And if anybody who's familiar with wave and acoustic things, basically under the wrong circumstances, waves can exponentially increase each other's energy. And they've been doing lab room experiments with this, and what they found out is if these wrong circumstances happen, and the physics doesn't say they can't, you can get any magnitude out of any fault line anywhere under the wrong circumstances, which means all these supposed theoretical limits of fault lines are bullshit. And we could have a 10.0 or worse anywhere on the planet that there's two pieces of land that come together. So
I'm in an area expecting an earthquake. Please stop scaring me.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm blissfully away from any known any fault lines that I know about. So
that you know about. I've looked at the fault line of the U.S. It's not as isolated as you think.
Don't tell me, dude.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't want to know.
Do we want to talk about the okay? Now I'm doing fear mongering. It's just it's Mother Nature, people. You can prepare for the worst, but the reality is you don't have a clue what the worst case scenario actually is.
Worst case scenario is probably Yellowstone suddenly explodes, taking out half of the U.S. with it.
Oh, wait a minute, that happened in that movie.
Well, Yellowstone is just a big, huge supervolcano, one of a few on the planet.
Yeah.
The only other one in the U.S. is Hawaii.
Uh-huh.
But there are many of those throughout the planet.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like I envision this like doomsday scenario of all of them going off at once.
Yes.
Anyways.
That's not fear mongering.
Yeah. Leo, how many days is it to the end of the world?
Oh, wait. Give me a second. I'll have it soon.
You'll have it in a minute. One of the possible 2012 scenarios,
That movie was disaster porn.
647 days.
Yes.
be more specific, 1 year, 9 months, and 6 days.
Exactly. See, we have nothing to worry about. It's not going to happen yet. We're all safe today.
About 2 years. Okay.
Didn't help Japan.
Well, they're not the whole world. Okay, no, that was in bad taste. I apologize. There are people looking for whole chunks of their family. That's in bad taste. I apologize. No, I should be beat up for making that joke.
I did not even hear what you said, so I won't hold it against you.
Nah, you should anyways. Okay.
Okay.
Do we want to talk about Twitter's Appleist tendencies?
Well, I don't keep up with Twitter. What's the new chat?
Basically, Twitter's adopting the same philosophy Apple has for iOS and saying that no application shall duplicate any Twitter website functionality at any level.
Oh, this is talking about the the applications out there that support Twitter or something like that.
Yeah. Basically, Twitter's decided they don't want people making apps anymore. They want everybody going to the Twitter website.
Interesting. How are they going to enforce that?
They're going to basically state, your app isn't approved if it's duplicating Twitter functionality.
Yeah, well, that's...
They said that some of the legacy apps would still...
But basically, the apps that exist today are largely grandfathered in. But, the reality is, I don't see with this clause in, I don't see how you can build a new Twitter client. Not that we need any that can gain any traction whatsoever, because it's going to be an order of magnitude less than almost any Twitter client that's available as of now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've never really kept up with Twitter.
Yeah, if anything, we have too many. Out of curiosity, Mr. iOS, does iOS have the same problem of, oh, look, I can have one of 80 billion Twitter apps?
Yeah, I believe there are a lot of Twitter apps available for iOS. I never really took a second look at any of them. The Twitter never really, did anything. But it's like one of those phenomena that I just don't really understand that well. It's like okay, I can go here and I can.
I'm listening to someone not understand what Twitter is. Was that 140 characters?
I understand what Twitter is. I just don't understand what the appeal of Twitter is supposed to be.
Everybody wants everybody to know when they're having to wait in line for coffee, or when they've tied their shoes, or when they.
I don't want anybody to know that crap.
Well, and then there's the people. There's these appliances being sold to interface with Twitter, like if somebody's trying to lose weight, they can get a scale that will tweet their weight every time they weigh themselves, so they can't cheat. It's like...
Yeah, that'll sell well.
Apparently it is. I don't know on what planet that sells well. Maybe they think they can hack it to, I don't know. Like, it'll tweet my fake weight. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, that... I guess I'm just too old-fashioned for that type of stuff.
I accepted the fact when I got to be about 15 that my metabolism had changed, and if I'm not being really freaking active, I'm going to start getting fat. I accepted that a long-ass time ago. I'm okay with it. I like the food I eat, and I understand there are consequences.
I understand. I want to lose weight and everything, but does that mean that I have to stop eating cheddar biscuits or whatever? I think that I'll just pretend, like when I get in the mirror, I'll suck in my gut. That's it for me. And I definitely wouldn't be telling all my friends and family, or putting it out there on the internet, like I'm trying to do this stuff and anybody can look it up. I mean, I don't know. Twitter never really appealed to me.
Twitter's a great resource, but I don't really contribute that much to it. I just don't have the ego to, say, I'm doing something right now. I don't. I've never really had the ego for that.
Well, it's like if I'm doing something interesting, like, hey guys, I'm out at the club with 12 hot chicks. Yeah, I mean, I can do that.
And the moment you tweet that, the 12 hot chicks are gonna slap you.
Baby. Just Twitter support pictures. I can put up a picture up on my Flickr or whatever.
There is a twit pic service.
Yeah, there is a twit pic
so
service.
I can put up a picture of these girls beating the crap out of me. It's like, hey guys, I had a blast. How about you?